job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. It is Thursday and even closer and closer to Christmas. Going to be some open line here on Talk Today. Looking forward to taking your calls. We got one in the queue, so let's stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. It's a Thursday, and in the studio, normally on Thursdays, the opposition members join us. Hey, they're not here, but the show continues. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hey, good afternoon. All right. 949-8037 or 949-8037. Or toll free with the compliments of Flow at 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, you can WhatsApp your thoughts to us, 925-3261. I even check the email, and sometimes there's something there to share with the public. Talk today at candw.ky is our email. But let's try the phones. Welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Hey, good afternoon, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm working on a job site now. Lucky I got some work spreading some fill, but I want to give an update on what's happening with our groceries and hardware coming here on the tug and barge.
Okay.
Yes, because of the bad weather, I've been having some missed shipments, sometimes skipping 2 weeks because of the cold front coming. The tug and barge bringing the Christmas goods left Grand Cayman this morning around 4 o'clock. We passed off the Queens Highway around 8 o'clock, headed to the Brighton, having very rough weather conditions. It's extremely rough between the two islands. Trying to get here before the cold front comes, but that's a 50-50 chance to whether the wind going to go around so the northwest and into the north and come very rough on the north side. So trying to make it here before the cold front comes, but that's a 50-50 chance.
Now, you've mentioned that in the past, and certainly appreciate you giving those here on Grand Cayman in particular, that perspective. But other than the tug and barge as we use, you've given us an idea sometimes as to other measures we can put in place to help bring the goods not only faster, more reliable, but perhaps even cheaper. Any thoughts on that?
Yes, a lot of thoughts and a lot of comments. We have been disadvantaged here many times, well, almost every year. This is seasonal for the cold front to come, and plenty times the tug and barge can't get on its regular schedule every week, sometimes skipping it because of bad weather and being 2 weeks. Sometimes I have seen it go 3 weeks when we have to import stuff by plane. The money away is how to bring in stuff because it can't come by tug and barge, and otherwise people getting stuff here, things that are non-transportable.
You're blowing into the window, Mr. Raymond. You're blowing into the wind, so we're missing some of that.
Yes, I'm on the south coast of the island now, and it's very windy here and rough on the sea. So the alternative for that would be, but when that will ever happen, we tried to get a harbor in the south side here by the Alexander Hotel, and so many of our own people and foreign people were against it. A lot was for it, and a lot was against it. So, and having a sizable ship, if we had a nice harbor with a sizable ship, like a 3,000-ton roll-on, roll-off ship that could come in rougher weather and come into the south coast of the island, but we only have the creek, which is the official only landing area for cargo distribution in Cayman Brac. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and we had it when it was rough on the north side. Colonial ships would come on the south side, and they would use manpower to load the barge and come in through there to the channel wharf by the Brac Reef, and we would get our needed stuff more prompt.
Yeah.
But
If I could ask you though, given the shipping routes that we have and with the boats that are coming over, is it possible that those vessels en route to Grand Cayman or even as they leave Grand Cayman could somehow incorporate the Brac so they make a stop there and offload?
You mean ships coming from the United States going to other Caribbean islands?
The ships that are coming from the U.S. coming to Grand Cayman to drop the goods here, is it, in your mind, a possibility that could also be stopped within Cayman Brac as well, either from here or on its way here?
What they are saying, because of the small amount, that it wouldn't be worth to send the big ship here. But we used to have that before. We had the North King and North Empress, the big roll-on, roll-off ships, and around the size of the Kirk Express. They were servicing us, but when the weather is rough on the north side, there's no alternative to that but just to wait until the weather gets better for us to get our stuff, no matter how great necessity it is. And, you know, even there in Georgetown, like today is 6 cruise ships, and they're told to get all their last tender to be boarded to the ship by 3 p.m. because the weather is getting bad in Georgetown as well. So the cruise ships have to leave early today, 6 of them.
Now, with the weather, as you shared on the Brac, as here on Grand Cayman, the location of the port, the weather can play an impact. And for Cayman Brac, you shared that moving it from where it's at to where there was some discussion in the past would help. What about Grand Cayman? Is the port where it's at the best site for us to get not just our cruise ships, but our cargo as well?
Grand Cayman has the same similar problem when the northwesters are on, when the cold fronts are on, northeasters, northwesters, that Georgetown be rough, and then a lot of times the south side is very calm once the wind is coming out of the northwest, and the north, Cayman Brac, is calm as a pond when the wind is coming out of the north or northeast. When the bad weather is on the north, south side is beautifully smooth, so sometimes the tug and barge would have to keep up on the south side and wait until the weather improves at the creek dock in order for it to come back around and discharge. The same way with Grand Cayman, when it gets rough, they got to go on at spots. Even the cruise ship arrivals have to go at spots when it's rough on the north side. So both islands almost need a dock on both sides of the island. If I had the say to that, that's what we need. Both islands need a dock, one on each side when it's rough on the north from this seasonal cold front, an alternative to the south coast, and that's including for the cruise ships too. But when will that ever happen? I mean, that's a lot of discussions and controversy and a million things involved. But that would be one of the solutions, so that having a dock on both sides of the island, but that's a very costly thing to maintain, et cetera, et cetera. But it can be done with input and consideration and money allocated. It can be done.
Right. Now, with that, as we're looking at the dock and the construction, the location and the like, you're obviously very, very familiar with it. Can I pass along a comment that was shared by one of us, very, very, not only experienced, but involved seafarers, who suggested that perhaps in constructing the dock, we do an elevated steel dock. We put down steel pylons, the pylons, put it high enough so that the nor'westers, they don't affect it. What are your thoughts? Using steel pylons and elevated steel dock to construct it as opposed to another method?
Constructing a dock that the water wave action can go underneath it, being high above the water. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a factor, that the impact of the dock wouldn't catch the impact of the sea whenever a hurricane comes or something like that. That would be a good feature, yes. The creek dock is sitting on pylons, including the one in Georgetown. But now Scott's development that built the dock, Scott's dock, that's all a boulder dock. and that's passing the boulders are on the seabed, and as they sit there, marine growth contacts with the bottom, and they become very solid after many years with coral formation. That dock is much stronger than the concrete dock because the creek dock has got several damages in the past from even severe northwesters, northeasters. That would be a better thing, yes, if it was put taller so the wave action would just wash underneath it. But both docks now is located and designed that way on pilings, on stilts, so the sea can go underneath it. But turbulence builds up with pressure of the sea and has even lifted some of the sections on the creek dock here in Caymanbrack in the past. There's many ways to go about it, but lots of discussion, lots of money and things like that. But we need to think toward that because when it's rough in Georgetown, the cruise ships can't come and no cargo can come to Grand Cayman. Say, for example, if we get a cold front lasting 2 or 3 weeks, I have seen it here in Caymanbrack, we couldn't get anything come. Cayman Airways had to be the alternative source of transportation to Caymanbrack. So, like I said, both islands needs a dock on each side of the island. That would be the solution and the answer to our disadvantages with these seasonal cold fronts.
Well, it is something that, as you shared, not only is going to affect us right now and in the short term, but if we don't do what we know to be the best option, whether it's in relation to our port, cargo, or air, whether it's in relation to our schools, our medical facilities, roads, and the like, we're going to be paying the price for a long time. It's probably more costly to undo. Any other thoughts you want to share with us, Mr. Raymond?
Yes, like when we are disadvantaged with the tug and barge coming on the north side and we're running short on groceries in Caymanbrack, it has to be flown in, which could incur more shipping charges. The price of things could go up as a result of that, having to use the plane versus the tug and barge. So that's something for our politicians and leaders and that to consider about and definitely put something toward the future for making improvements with that. So we don't have to sit around and be disadvantaged because the weather is bad on the north side. We need an alternate source on the south coast. But because of the international law that has appointed or designated the creek dock for only port of arrival in Caymanbrack, the south side location was disregarded from many years ago when we had that, where the ship could come and offload and get it in that way. And Grand Cayman, well, it's allocated there or permissible for the spot location for the cruise ship tenders to land there. So you all have an alternate source for the cruise ship passengers, but we do not have an alternate source for getting our food stuffs come in on the south side when the north side is rough.
Well, this is, I think you shared something for the politicians and the like, but maybe is this something that the community, instead of us resting and waiting for a government to do something, could we do as our forefathers did, do for ourselves together? Oh
yes, definitely so. I wish I had money. Lots of money. I would make some improvements to things that I see need to be done. Anyway, let me get out.
Yeah, man. You go right ahead.
Yes, I would like to wish all my family and friends all over Grand Cayman and Caymanbrack and everyone a Merry, Merry Christmas, and be very careful wherever we go. Right now I'm working on a job site, and we all exercise be very cautious around wherever we are. Christmas is nearly here, and I'm wishing everyone a Merry, Merry Christmas and happy and prosperous New Year. And to my special friends in Grand Cayman, like Mr. Paul Bodden and his wife, Miss Jane, Mr. McCurley and his wife, and Harley Ray, and a number of others in Grand Cayman, wishing them all the very best. And we be in contact quite often, almost every day, with those friends. And
you should sing it to them, man. Mr. Raymond, you should sing the Christmas greeting to them, man, either in Tagalog or Italian or one of the other many languages. That would be a treat. Getting
some Hindi language yesterday on the radio to an Indian.
Yeah, man.
Yes, Hindi language. For example, if you want to get a contact from a ship, and they have Indians on it, you would say like this, I mean, attention or calling to anyone receiving me. You say, Poibi ay bataya jazap ko bula raha hayes so bula channel 16 and magandang hapon, that's good afternoon to all the Filipinos and Feliz Navidad in the Cayman Islands and the Spanish as well.
Mm-hmm. That's what you're a brilliant man, and then maybe before Christmas you might decide.
Yeah, I speak a bit of 12 different languages now, not fluently, but certain amounts, because I work with hundreds of seamen. I was working with the ship-to-ship transfer business for roughly on and off for about 6 years, and working with the people is where I picked up the language, and with the radio communication and listening and communicating with them. Every nationality in the world has their code of alerting each other. We would say on the radio, hello, come in. Anybody hearing me, come in. And each one of them got their way of saying it. So I have caught on to all of that and then respond back to them in their language. A lot of times.
How's your Chinese?
Chinese, not very much.
And your Russian?
But Korean and some Japanese.
Yeah, but no Russian, huh?
Yes, Vienyamanye, Kito, Slishit, Minya, Priyam, Estonian, yes.
There you go, man. You see that? Mr. Riemann, a man of skill. Hey, thank you very much, Mr. Riemann. Anytime you wish, share with us. And seriously, take up the option to call in one day and sing the greeting in your language of choice, for the blessings for the Christmas.
Okay, fine.
All right, so
yes, Merry Christmas to all. Thanks
Merry
a lot.
Christmas
I hope
to you.
Join you again tomorrow. Let you know what's happening with our shipment on the tug and barge.
There you go. Talk to you soon, sir.
Yes, okay, fine.
All right.
Okay then. Bye-bye.
This is where I think when we look at our people, we see the intellect, maybe perhaps don't always embrace the way that they learn. So everyone presumably would be an auditor learner, but are we looking at education and continuing? We know that UCCI is putting on courses in that vein going forward for the adult learners. Let's pause though. Take a break. When we come back, it'll be Talk Today. Let me see if I can go find my colleague Raymond Singh. Is he hanging about somewhere in the building with nothing on his plate? If he does, there's a chair sitting for him. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Research shows that domestic violence increases during the holidays. Financial pressures, family pressures, work pressures, all of these play a part. So don't let the pressures of life take over. Choose to diffuse the spousal arguments before they begin. Most people experience their greatest anger when they feel dismissed, ignored, or misunderstood. Many people instinctively avoid naming their fears, and it's all too easy to mistake sadness and fear for anger. So if you feel like you're heading for an argument, or you find yourself getting angry, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I reacting to a feeling of loss? Telling someone else what you're sad about or afraid of means that you're willing to let down your guard and be honest. And they may react by doing the same. A quote from ahealthyplace.com says this: remember, from every wound there is a scar, and every scar tells a story. A story that says, I have survived. Turn your wounds into wisdom.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
It's more than what we do. It's who we are. We were your official bank of the quincentennial celebrations in 2003. We were your Bank of the Year 4 times. We were voted as the inaugural top employer in 2010. We were the inaugural Business of the Year awardee in 2017. Who are we? We are Cayman National, your local bank, proudly serving you for over 40 years. It's because of you that our journey continues.
This health flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation. A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org. Make it Le Classique this holiday season and give the gift that will last forever. The gift of leather. With leather goods, accessories, and footwear that fuse classic timeless fashion with today's trends, Le Classique will add versatility and distinction to any wardrobe. Find the perfect gift for any man with the selection of leather belts, wallets, briefcases, and luggage to shoes for leisure, work, or special occasions up to size 13. Make it Le Classique this holiday season. For the ladies looking for style and quality, Le Classique carries handbags, luggage, shoes, and accessories for any occasion. Shop the new shoe, accessories, and leather collection for men and women at Le Classique this holiday season. Make it last. Make it Le Classique.
On Thursday at 7 p.m., you can hear a repeat broadcast of CI Retro's Talk Today special presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered, when we take a look back at Cayman Islands Christmas celebrations and traditions through the years, going back some 150 years to present day. This special CI Retro Talk Today presentation is being brought to you by Four Winds Esso, Cayman Enterprise City, pioneering a new type of special economic zones in the Cayman Islands, focused on technology and innovation. FSH Designs. Let your imagination grow with FSH Designs Limited. Visit fshdesigns.com today. Eats Cafe, Legends, and Yoshi Sushi, located in the Fall Center on the West Bay Road, across from the Westin. And by Puritan Cleaners, celebrating 60 years of excellent service to the Cayman Islands community. And to you from all of our fine sponsors, all the best for the Christmas season and into the new year. Remember, Thursday, 7 p.m., CI Retro Talk Today's special Christmas presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered, looking back at Christmas over the last 150 years on Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us. It's open 9 and seated across the table. Not because he doesn't have anything better to do, but there's no better to do than to be in Talk Today. Right, Ray?
You're absolutely right. You get called out live on the radio. It's tough to... I can't go hiding, right? You can see me behind the glass.
That's my window to the world, I mean, I appreciate when, all the other guys over there, but I miss when Susan isn't. If she's not sitting there, the view isn't as good. So
I agree. I didn't say about Paul yesterday. I'll say it about Lynn. He's great back there, but it's just not as pretty as Miss Susan.
Yeah, I mean, it's picturesque. Susan's there.
And we know Miss Susan listening right now, so we just got to put it out there live in the radio. Miss Susan, we do miss you. Wherever you're at, we do miss you.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway. Wait till she comes back.
She comes back.
Let's go to the phones, though. Join our callers. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dwayne, and
Merry Christmas to you, man.
Season greetings and all that.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm stuck here at the junction, coming up at the Elizabeth Highway, and it's got about a mile of traffic that is backed up at that Butterfield roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. Why don't we stop and get a good public transportation system that people don't have to be waiting on the whims of bus drivers and stuff like that. That people would take instead of putting up gas waiting in line like today. I mean, it's. I don't like to be complaining, but the fact is,
but someone has to do it, man.
Nobody
may as well be you.
Huh?
Somebody has to do it. It may as well be you.
Yeah, I wish I was that. I'd do it. Put a good transportation system in Cayman, and because what happens is that with the price of gas, you imagine a poor person trying to get to work, and they hit something. I'm not going to work. I'm just going shopping. But I'm thinking somebody trying to get a job now, and they hook up on something like this, and they go in, and their boss asks them, "Why are you so late?" and all this kind of thing. I mean, the bosses get tired of that too, you see.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, respectfully, with relation to. With respect to the public transport issue, it seems that people like yourselves, perhaps because of your experience and your expertise, you have commented on this day in and day out throughout the year. Some people, it's only when it gets, a little bit more hectic perhaps during Christmas and the like. But this is an issue that affects us every day, all day long. It's an environmental as well as an economic, as well as a social cost. What is it about it that we can't seem to understand or to grasp or to decide to have an active, discussion to see whether there is some meaningful resolution?
And Dwayne, the other thing I want to say was that when you think about it, we got the price of gas. I just came back from went up to the States for a while. The average price is about $2 a gallon in Miami, anyway. And here we got gas almost $5 a gallon. We got a thing called the off-reg, which is supposed to regulate these things. Okay, the telephone company, they power company, everybody, and they've been here for I don't know how long. The guy that was in charge, Mr. Williams, Mr. J.P. Morgan, I think his name was, or J.P. something. He left. He was here 18 months, and when he left, he had left us a bill of something like $240,000 for travel. Plus, there was another $200,000 for some consultant. He was supposed to be the expert, but he needed $240,000 for consultant. You see, these are the things that people get angry about. The power company, the gas companies ain't dropping their prices, but they can give away $30,000, $40,000 every couple of months because they're making so much money. Whereas the poor Caymanian who's struggling to make a living, got his little business, and he's running up and down, and he barely keeps his head above water. But government let these people, like these utilities and stuff like that, take advantage of people. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
But it is. So what do we do about it?
Makes me angry.
Okay. So, but what do we do about it?
What do? I do exactly what I'm doing now.
Not just you, but all of us.
Yeah. I talk to the politicians. I talk to the people in the info. What we need is like when they had that thing up in France the other day. We don't want to see that because you don't know violence. But they were out there, and every state in France was out there on the street. But get that to do in Cayman? No, not gonna happen because I don't say it's not gonna happen. But we need people together. Look at the referendum for the docks that they talked about. They was going to try to stop the docks. Okay. They still ain't got the 2,500 that they required, or whatever it is, that 5,000, whatever it was. Because what? I don't know.
So that number, you're fairly certain that they failed to get the requisite number of signatures?
Yeah, but it was. Oh boy, Dwayne, let me tell you something. I'm going to use the word corrupt, and I want everybody to hear that I'm using it because I believe, I know in some cases there's corruption in this island. And until we can grab the bull by the horn, as they say, and do something about that, and that goes to government. Government has to stop this kind of, because when you see $5, almost $5 a gallon of gas in Cayman, and I talk to people, and I know that they, it's, oh man, it's poor people that's hurting.
I can hear it's disheartening, but the question is, again, what are we willing to do or to try? And, are we, as you said, prepared to work together? Okay, the protests in France or other parts of the world may not be what people advocating necessarily want to see. But is there another way to approach it to bring about that sort of action that you think is required?
Yeah, but you see, government has to step in and say that they got a thing called the antitrust legislation in the United States. That's why AT&T had to break up, because they had a monopoly on things. If you got anything like that, you see it all the time. If you got a monopoly on anything like that in the States, any public service, the government steps in and says, "Oh no, you're not going to do that under me."
But those monopolies in itself, doesn't have to be a bad thing if you have effective regulation and enforcement. I hear your point, but we keep saying the government. But is that the government that we've elected? Is it the civil servants that have been appointed? Are we failing to understand that if it's a democracy, maybe we are the government, and if we are silent, does that show acquiescence? Or do you think our actions only during the electoral cycle on that day, by the mark of our pens or pencils as they are now, indicative of what is it the populace wants? Or do we need to be actively engaged in holding the politicians and the government and the businesses to account, to be responsible to the country and to its resources?
But that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm doing is that we as the people has to get out there. We don't want to be violent. We're not going to start no violence and all that kind of thing. But if you can get enough Caymanians to back up something, but you see what happens is that everybody is told by certain people, if you do this, this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The Caymanians will go down the drain and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe that for a minute. But poor people especially, who are dependent on handouts.
The handouts, yeah.
Yeah, on the handouts. Those people, you're not going to get them to any own. I'm not going to do that. And I can't blame them in a sense.
But it's not only, sorry to interrupt you, but it's not only those. I mean, what about that person, right? Male or female, civil servant or private sector individual who's close to either a politician or a business person, who knows that if they still maintain a cordial working relationship with this person entity, they can get the trappings of the travel, of the dinner invites, of the whatever. And if they were to say something, even as correct and as timed as it should be, they may not enjoy those trappings. So they say, you know what, I'm not going to lose out on this, whatever this is that they perceive to be of value. So from the poor to the unscrupulous, people are not sometimes willing to do what's ethical and right. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is doing is this, that when I look back and I say, I can show you something that I'm not for the doc. I can tell you that I'm not for the doc. But what I'm saying is this: we've had since 1988. I think it was 1988, and when Tom Jefferson first got in. He was in 1992. I think he first got in as an elected member.
Pardon me?
As an elected member, the Honourable Financial Secretary at the time, Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah. I think
92.
Yeah. Right. And I remember them bringing down some guys from Tampa to look at this doc thing. I remember the meeting was done at the Marriott. They had people like Captain Paul. They had Bob Soto. They had other old seamen and people who noticed the water around here. And they said at that point that the day they dredged in Georgetown, 7 Mile Beach is gone. Because there's a current that runs up and down to the south and come back down and go down. And you remember when they had the turtle glass behind Marriott there? And about a week or two or a month or so, it was down in West Bay, down by Public Beach.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. They can take everything out of. Let me put it this way: the money that was spent on that dock, not the dock, on this talk about building a dock, could have built 10 public transportation systems on a monorail or something by now. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have to stop wasting money. Look at the schools. When they were building the schools, they started off saying $50 million unheard of. I designed schools in the US of A. If you go online, you go and look at a school called in Dallas, Texas, called the Shelton School. I was the architect that worked on that thing. And when I tell you that thing was something, when we built it back in I think it was 82 or something, it cost us like $28 million, much bigger than the one we're building here. What I'm saying is this, Dwayne, we got to stop listening to people who are friends and people who got a job and people. I know in my business as the architect, I had people coming to me and say, if you can give me this job, I can take care of you. I've had that happen from contractors. And my words to them was, sir, I don't do that because my first obligation is to my client. And I'm trying to save him every penny I can. We need to have scruples. We got to stop thinking about money. It's what's destroying the world.
I hear you, man.
All right, my friend. Have a good day. God bless, and everybody have a good Christmas. And I'll come sing a song for you on the radio one day.
Anytime, man.
All right, man.
Thank you.
Same to you, sir.
All right. Well, DJ Lynn says another caller, Mr. Ray. So he's in charge, you know. I mean, not every day he gets to hear that.
DJ Lynn's the boss.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for holding and thank you for joining us.
Sterling, good day. How are you and your crew doing?
Boy, we're rolling like we good, man. We good. How are you?
Yeah.
Good afternoon,
Same
ma'am.
here. Thankful for another day.
Amen to that.
What I have to say is a little bit. I have a mailbox in Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't pay them when they do, they take in the key and lock in the box, right?
They do the same in West Bay.
Yeah, but look here.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Savannah post office is a little off the main road.
Mm-hmm.
In the night, many times when I go to check my box, I'm afraid to go. The place is dark.
Mm-hmm.
This is for government place. You can't find your box. The place is dark, and it's not one time. It's several times I go there and I say, my goodness, I had to go in this dark. And it looks so deserted here. And you know so much things is happening now. And the other night, 3 of us ladies were there. We had to wait for one another, keep company, till we finish, get the box checked somehow, and go. Why they can't do something about those lights, and that is government place.
And I appreciate you sharing that.
And you know, Sterling, it's plenty times it happens.
It's affecting your quality of life, though. You know, that increase in crime making you, not just you know, let's say you
and
or me.
I'm afraid to go there in the night time, tell you the truth. But because I see this other car was there, I take a chance and I wait until 6 o'clock. It's dark now.
Yeah, man. Who would have thought, okay, Mom would come to that, huh?
Ma'am, have you bothered calling the post office to ask if they could...
We reported already to the post office
you did?
in person there, and nothing not being done.
Nothing's been done.
Bet you don't pay that $75, see what will happen.
Oh, that's true. I think the last thing the post office
plus
wants
you will have to pay. Plus you will have to pay extra for put it on back.
Yeah, and don't lose your key though. Okay, there's a cost to replace it.
And this is disgusting now, man. You know, and they're trying to help senior citizens. Is this how they gonna do it?
Yeah. But as you were saying, I mean, that idea of lighting, I think of the crosswalk by the Strand. There are a couple of those spots where the illumination could be a lot better. Not just for people's safety and security and visibility and the like, but you know that presence and peace of mind. And it's unfortunate, as you share that you know the Cayman that you knew yesterday is in the Cayman today, where you feel unsafe and probably justifiably so, going about your shopping, your meal checking, your walking, and otherwise. What do we do, Mom? I mean, it's the year coming to a close, and how is next year going to be better?
I hope somebody listening to this and they try and do something ASAP.
Well, thank you. I hope so.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Blessings to you for the Christmas. All right. And before we go to the break, Mr. Singh, see how you sit in here, man?
That was a lot of talking points to cover there.
All right. Well, tell you what. Take us 2 minutes and give us some chatter.
Well, Mr. Chairman, the last caller made a very valid point when it comes to... it seems like a relatively straightforward fix to install a light around the post office, especially if it's off the main road, where, as she mentioned, she's now having to take the personal responsibility of her and her friends having to keep an eye on each other when they're going which commend her for taking those initiatives. Actually,
safety numbers, and
that's actually a very valid scenario. Some people speak on the phone when they go and do things like that. I just keep talking to someone on the phone, so there's always a constant outside presence. But that first caller made I wish he'd been a little more cohesive in some of his points, because he covers some great topics. He gets kind of jumped around a little bit, but made some very valid points on where he personally sees areas that need to be improved upon. And one of them, started off the same as yesterday, was the traffic element.
Yeah.
And this time of year, the only thing at this time of year, we can't go and increase the roads overnight. So the only thing I think anybody could suggest at this point is to give yourself extra time with what you're working with if you're on the roads throughout the daytime, because we know, especially today, tomorrow's going to be the same, and probably Monday as well, that things on the roads are going to be hectic, and it's going to be extremely busy, so give yourself the extra bit of time.
What's interesting, right, and maybe it's some of us who look and think and stop to take a second to consider. I remember, honestly, I don't think I'm that old, when on Christmas Day, if I was to drive from my home to, place of interest, I would be the only car on the road, right? And then one year there were plenty of cars, and I remember on Christmas Day when certain businesses like gas stations and other businesses started to open. Now, I made a comment to a couple of people, and I said, Do we see the change coming? They were dismissive. Some say, oh, that's progress. Now, if you travel to some parts of the world, Sundays or Christmas days or other holidays, you can see that they have taken the time to respect that tradition, that practice, in order to recognize the need to rest. However you want to interpret that. Why are we missing the boat on that? Why are we failing to acknowledge that that's important for all in Sunday? And I'm sure roads would welcome a break.
I think it becomes a very divisive situation, because you have some entities that will want the opportunity to open their business or shop as well on Sundays. And then you have, like yourself, who has made very valid points that this is a day where, as a society, we could actually look at it as... All right. But
I want you to share that with me, please.
After the break.
After the break. For those listening, join us. We're going to talk about things. Some of it actually might make sense. Some of it might inflame you. Some of it might even entertain you. But if you're not listening, you're not going to know exactly what was said. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The facts on domestic violence are widely misunderstood. According to the Center for Disease Control, Harvard University, and many academic studies, men and women are equal victims in domestic violence. Even more understood is that in 2/3 of domestic violence incidents, women hit first. It's time to change the narrative. Remember, a healthy relationship will never require you to sacrifice your friends, your dreams, or your dignity. Stop the slap, stop the cycle, stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Foster's Food Fair. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
Who's the leader in St.
It's Foster's.
This holiday season, taste Christmas with Foster's IGA.
Try a new recipe. Incorporate a new flavor into your Christmas feasts. Bake with a new ingredient. Whatever you decide, make the most of time with family and friends and celebrate the holidays.
Visit fosters-iga.com or Foster's IGA on Facebook for taste Christmas inspiration, recipes, and more to make the most of flavors Christmas has to offer.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care.
CUC advises participants in the Green Iguana Culling Program to exercise extreme caution around the CUC's poles and power lines, especially when extracting iguanas from trees or branches that are in close proximity to poles and power lines. Participants should keep all objects such as poles, sticks, or hooks away from any CUC equipment to avoid any electrical contact. For further information, please contact our customer service team at 949-5200 or via email at service@cuc.ky.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The man aged 57 of Cayman Brac, who was arrested on Tuesday, has been formally charged with possession of cocaine and possession of ganja. He has been bailed to return to court on January 9th. On Tuesday, a team of officers conducted an intelligence-led operation on Cayman Brac, which resulted in a number of searches. During a search at an address on Cayman Brac under the misuse of drugs law, several ounces of suspected cocaine and a quantity of suspected ganja were recovered, and the 57-year-old man arrested. Good afternoon. I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, tens of thousands of passengers have been disrupted by drones flying over the UK's busiest airports. Gatwick's runway has been shut since Wednesday night as devices have been repeatedly flying over the airfield. Sussex police said it was not terror-related, but a deliberate act of disruption using industrial specification drones. About 110,000 passengers on 760 flights were due to fly on Thursday. Disruption could last several days. And Uganda's president, Yoweri Museveni, has criticized Miss World Africa for wearing Indian hair, tweeting a photo with fellow Ugandan Queen Abenako shortly after her pageant win. He said, "We must show African beauty in its natural form." Asked what Mr. Museveni meant by Indian hair, his spokesman, Dan Wanyama, told the BBC, "Just look at the photo and you will see the type of hair. It's an unnatural wig." He was saying she should wear her natural hair. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
It's a massive decision.
It's a massive decision.
The cruise port is the most expensive capital works project in our history,
with huge social, environmental, and economic effects.
The cost will be borne by this generation
and the next. It's time for the people of Cayman to have a say.
To be included and empowered.
And to make an informed choice.
The wrong decision will always cost more than we can afford to pay.
We have a chance to be united
as a people, as a country,
for our heritage, for our environment, and for our tourism.
Get your answers.
It's your constitutional right.
Sign the petition, support the referendum.
Support the referendum, and let's build our future together.
Retain your peace of mind by installing a reliable generator, knowing that your family is safe and secure during a power outage. At Corporate Electric, we care about the well-being of our customers and their loved ones. We are the official distributor of Kohler SDMO generators in the Cayman Islands and can conduct a free assessment of your house to suggest the perfect fit. Call us at 946-2277. Visit our website or the Facebook page for more details.
Stay connected and share your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Pick up the Alcatel A1 from $70 or the Samsung J2 Pro, packed with sweet features from $130. Every week you can win cash and prizes in our Cash Cube when you top up. Also check out our weekly top-up specials. Visit Flow's Facebook and Instagram pages to follow the deals. Plus, top up $25 or more for plenty chances to win great Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Brandsource Home Gallery has been appointed the exclusive Cayman supplier for Duravit bathroom products. Duravit is the leading international manufacturer of bathroom ceramics, tubs, and showers, recognized around the world for beautiful, functional products. Winner of top industry awards, Duravit collaborates with leading European designers to provide the most elegant and innovative bath products. If you're ready to bring style, comfort, and innovation to your bathroom, visit Brandsource Home Gallery to see the new Duravit showroom and meet the in-house bath designer. Whether you're planning a functional family bathroom or a personal spa retreat, browse the Duravit collection and be inspired. Brandsource Home Gallery, delivering a new standard in custom designed bathrooms. Brandsource Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
On Thursday at 7 p.m., you can hear a repeat broadcast of CI Retro's Talk Today special presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered, when we take a look back at Cayman Islands Christmas celebrations and traditions through the years, going back some 150 years to present day. This special CI Retro Talk Today presentation is being brought to you by Four Winds Esso, Cayman Enterprise City, pioneering a new type of special economic zones in the Cayman Islands, focused on technology and innovation. FSH Designs. Let your imagination grow with FSH Designs Limited. Visit fshdesigns.com today. Eats Cafe, Legends, and Yoshi Sushi, located in the Fall Center on the West Bay Road, across from the Westin. And by Puritan Cleaners, celebrating 60 years of excellent service to the Cayman Islands community. And to you from all of our fine sponsors, all the best for the Christmas season and into the new year. Remember, Thursday, 7 p.m., CI Retro Talk Today's special Christmas presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered. Looking back at Christmas over the last 150 years on Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Good company of Raymond Singh. Yes, he's in the sales department, and yes, he's making those ads work for our customers and our listeners. So thank you for doing that, man. You and the team over there.
Thank you. Radio Cayman has that duty to our clients, our listeners, and
you got some because of your diligence. You got a couple extra minutes on your hands. You keep my company, so appreciate that as well. As you go to our phones, we talk about what the callers talk about. Nope, we lost that one. Dun 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 dun. All right, to that caller, and we know it's busy, and this is the thing, people they got things to do, but
they do absolutely. Right. So we were talking before the break about the some of the previous callers' points, and what are your thoughts on the first caller? Because I know we talked about briefly yesterday about the traffic element, but that caller made some relatively strong points, and granted he jumped around a little bit. But what were your views on that?
The notion that when we look at traffic, for instance, if you want to focus on that specifically initially, this whole idea of...
That was his first point that he referenced.
And he has referenced that over the years, from the first of the year, throughout the year, from last year, he's probably going to share it again next year. Hopefully, we'll start thinking about it and doing something about it. But what's interesting, I would like to think that I can recall exactly when it was, but it was a good while back, a group of students having a conversation, and we fail to appreciate how much our students think, how much they are concerned about today and the future, and the insights that they have. Not just because they're interconnected here or that they are engaged with friends, so to speak, globally, but as you talk to some of them, you get to appreciate that the same sort of ills that are plaguing societies elsewhere plague us here, or that we're affected here affect them there. And in one conversation with these were high school students, they had mentioned about public transport, or this notion that our infrastructure investment, whether it's a monorail system as they call it, whether it's some sort of gondola-like thing that you see in some places where it's a cable in a car and it takes you from point A to point B, that could be utilized for the cruise ships. It could be utilized to moving people from the other districts into town, or whether it's a tram-like system, or whether it's a rail or something like. And they're thinking of these things. There's a cost, but what they shared, and it's something that I think perhaps has been missed. What we have now, we talk about as being public transport. It isn't. It's licensed private entities. Hopefully, find it to be a lucrative venture, but it doesn't really add any great value to moving large numbers of people efficiently and effectively, reliably, or as safely as it could and should be. But where's that public investment? Right?
Well, it's an interesting point of the public investment part. And it goes with the caller had mentioned, that it's those who are financially off who suffer the most from it. And he makes a valid point to that. I mean, human rights issues worldwide don't affect the rich. They affect the poor. Social issues tend to affect those who don't have the resources to financially fight back. The system requires financing at times, and I think he made a very valid point that groups who are in power should look at that from that coin.
Right. Well, question I'm going to pose to us in a second, but let's take this call. Hey, good afternoon, and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, my good friend Dwayne and your guest, and Merry Christmas when it comes.
Well, Merry Christmas, man.
Good afternoon, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Dwayne, can I give you a homework today?
Well, I always have work at home, and so I guess.
Well, you're married.
No,
comes with the territory, sorry.
All right, man, go ahead. I got my pen and paper in hand.
Okay. I think you need to give those people in social services and Kim and Brock a call and ask them why they don't help this homeless man who live in public bathroom in Kim and Brock. We understand that the MLA for the Kim and Brock has never done anything, and he will not do nothing because he don't care, Mr. Moses Corconal. He don't care about anybody. He care about building a board and damaging the environment.
I'm not going to defend him, but how can we speak to someone's mind as to whether they care or don't care? I mean, have you seen a demonstrated action by him or anybody else says, you know what, I don't care?
I don't see him care much.
All right, so your perception is that, and you might be right, but, you know, in the words of Bill Joy, you could be wrong too.
When somebody he knows somebody is a homeless for a long time and live in a public bathroom and he's the MLA for the same area and he don't do nothing, that means tell me he don't care much about the people.
But again, right, and I think sometimes, one, we let the elected officials and off the hook a little too easily, but sometimes maybe we're, as a populace, expecting too much of them. I mean, maybe tomorrow, you know, I may ask my MLAs to come in and help me cut my yard and paint my house. I mean, where is it going to stop?
Yeah, you see, Dwayne, it's a matter of, you know, it's unhuman for a human being to live in a public bathroom.
Now that I support that we need to address some of these social issues, if it's homelessness, if it's, you know, people not finding meaningful employment, people don't have the requisite skills, people having issues with housing. Hey, let's address those. And if our elected members or appointed people are not performing, let's bring it to their attention, hold them accountable, and ask them how they can help to facilitate the process. But do we want them coming in and physically doing the work all the time, giving us a couple of dollars, whether it's 25 or 25,000? I mean, you know, if I'm paying you to do something, maybe I'm calling the shots.
Yeah, I'm not asking any MLA to give no dollar because they will not give anyway. I'm asking them to do their duty that they are elected for.
Okay, which is what? In your mind, what is that duty?
Their duty to look after their people. Look after their people by the power they have in their hands as an elected member of government. He needs to use to ask why social service is not helping. He needs to go and himself and solve the problem. He needs to take a ticket, buy a ticket and go to Kim Brock and solve the social issues in Kim Brock in place of he sitting in Grand Cayman and want to build a board and damage the environment. I think he needs to take care of the welfare state he created in Kim Brock.
All right, let me ask a question. And since you asked, you know, what he does, what about you personally? How can you, very tangibly, very positively make this individual's situation better? Have you done anything? And what can you do?
Yes, you see, I don't have no powers. I'm not elected like him. I'm not the social services. But it's unhuman for a person to live in a public bathroom for, I hear, over 2 years or more. I'm not sure.
All right, hold on. Ray, jump in there.
Well, I was just going to ask, to follow up to your question, it was, have you, sir, actually reached out to social services or
a service club, a church,
or Mr. Moses, or any church groups to assist this individual? I'm not sure the individual you're referencing, but I agree with you. You don't have the power or the resources to assist directly. But have you been able to? Clearly, you have the phone to call us. Have you been able to actually reach out to any of the social services and possibly even the Honorable Deputy Premier's office to actually find out what is available to assist this individual?
Yeah, you see, look, my friend. First, with my respect to you, those churches collect money by the name of God Almighty all the time, and you don't know where this money goes.
No, fair enough. I think some of the churches, but that's not the question. The question, sorry, is you, me, and everybody individually, but in your case, without being disrespectful to you, as you've called us, have you called the Premier's office and maybe lamented, say, listen, you bunch of no good lazy, or you might say, hey, listen, very respectfully, I bring this to your attention. Have you done anything, whether very deliberately, directly, heatedly, or very passionately and respectfully made any calls, queries, inquiries to anybody to say, what can we do to address this situation? Have you done that personally?
One thing. Let me tell you one thing. Every call I made, it's been recorded and given to the Honorable Premier. I'm very sure of this information, and he listened to it. So I'm very sure he have a very good knowledge in everything I put out to the public.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very sure there is MLAs themselves told me that they hear every call. If they don't hear it, they hear the recording for it. So every call I made to the media, all the time, being recorded and given to them.
Right. So basically, you haven't called them directly, but you're confident that they've heard you make this complaint, brought this to the public's attention.
They hear what I say.
Okay.
Well, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Just last thing,
Yes,
I
sir.
want to see that this public transport board, those people are sitting there and lazy, and they are not fixing the problem of the public transport in this country. The public bus drivers, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, it's a small percentage of those drivers' behavior and language, and they don't want to continue their routes, and they are reaching to a point that we have a bad public bus system in this country, and we need, I am asking the Honorable Deputy Governor, His Excellency the Governor, to interfere. I'm asking the Honorable Premier to interfere. I'm asking whoever the minister responsible about transport to try solve this problem, because the people of North Side, East End, every day suffering.
All right. So let me ask you then. Sorry to interject. I do apologize. You allege that the public transport isn't, dealing with the issue isn't solved. How would you solve it? What is your advice to them to address this issue, to make it better, that it's more effective, efficient, satisfactory to you? What is that answer? What is that solution?
Solution easy. We have over 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people not working in Cayman. You have to implement a law. Nobody drives public transport in Cayman unless he is Caymanian or have a Cayman residency in this country. Somebody in a work permit can't or not allowed to drive public transport in this country. Shouldn't, because they are given bad picture about this country. They are missing.
So that would solve the issue? If we did that, that would immediately solve the issue, you think?
I think it will solve it, because I see all the Caymanian public bus drivers, nobody ever complain about them and their behavior and their attitude and their way of driving public bus is very respectable. We need to find 50 Caymanians willing and hard-working people willing to drive public bus, and we bring them to the transport board, and we say, replace the work permit by bringing people who are born and grown in this country and can give a good picture, not a bad picture like those bus drivers. Finally, I just want to say one thing. Those people who sit in that little room by the public transport need to leave that phone, texting all day, all day, playing with their phone, and they are not caring what's happening in the public transport. Those people need to work in place of getting their phone all the time and texting, and I don't know what they're listening to, putting the air, using the phone 24/7 at the time of work. They need to start give warning to those drivers, and they need to do their job, or they need to take that booth from the roots of it and take it and take those workers, give them something productive in this country to do, while they are just getting salary for sitting and playing in the phone. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Talk to Marie.
I mean, he's made one thing that I'll note is over the past, sitting in yesterday and today, is a number of calls have referenced the need for a more effective and more stable public transport system to help alleviate congestion roads. And so it's interesting that there's been a consistent...
Yeah. Is it because of the time of year, though?
It might be. It might be the higher traffic volume that's kind of driven people to look at the alternative. What I will say, too, is, first of all, I will say I commend him on bringing up the issue, because I have yet to hear anybody else bring up this issue, the individual. I can't agree with him that MLAs don't donate to assist causes, and I know personally that
you do,
or professionally that as well, that the Honorable Deputy Premier has actually donated to Cayman Brac charities as well, because he supported the Brac Breeze Fusion that we did. So I do know he does donate. Whether he knows about the issue or not, I can't obviously speak for that. But he did make and the point was briefly touched upon on the need to assist those who are homeless and what is or has been recognized as an issue. And perhaps looking at and it's tough to even digest how this topic would go over well and how it would manifest itself, but looking towards the shelter option as a temporary option for those who are struggling. And with that, I mean, there was a talk I had with someone the other day in regards to a shelter for male victims of domestic violence coupled with a shelter for those who are struggling financially and are without a stable home, and somehow merging those two concepts together.
But this is the thing, I mean, it's in Cayman, where we hear statistics, sometimes touted by some to malign us, others to try to, pull the wool over your eyes about this wealth and the like. But whether it's the great USA of A or whether it's Cayman, why do we have homelessness? Why is it that, and let's speak to Cayman specifically, do we know the numbers? Have we been able to address some of the causes of it? Are we doing anything, even if it's a stopgap measure, like you said, shelter provision and the like? I had an extended conversation with a couple of people this morning, and I always, at the end of the day, come away thinking, if I would, could have listened more, I would not want to save my voice, but would have to chat. But some people, you say the same things to them over and over and over and over, and it's like talking to the breeze. In Cayman, are we unwilling to acknowledge that it's prohibitively expensive in some instances to live here? To acknowledge, for some reason, are we unwilling to acknowledge that people are struggling with some of the basic necessities of life, food, clothing, housing, shelter, and all those things? What's the issue? What do you think of that, right?
Well, I don't know if it's just what is the issue. I think what are the issues? I think there's a multitude of areas that play into the situation. And we were talking during the break about competition and capitalism. And while most people will agree that competition and capitalism has helped society prosper, it's definitely assisted with Cayman's prosperity in terms of there's no doubt that Cayman does have a certain level of economic prosperity, especially compared to some of its neighbors. And a lot of that has been driven by its competitive edge in its respective industry. The unfortunate part of competition and capitalism is that it has a very ugly opposite side of that coin as well, and that's the side of the coin that we're discussing right now.
But even as you share that, and this is why when I look at education, I think of the types of subjects, for want of a better word, that our children should be introduced to. I think economics is right there, as you would your English and your other languages and your math.
You say that. I think agriculture should be the one.
Well, you would get that in economics.
Well, no, actually, the foundations. I think if you can't, and this for any individual or any country. And I would say to any parent, if your child is leaving home without knowing how to cook for themselves, man or woman, boy or girl, it does not matter, you have not succeeded in that realm of parenthood. Because you have not taught them how to do one fundamental thing. Yeah. That's feed themselves. That's for our country. Same thing.
I have a vision for education, right? And I've started sharing it more and more last 10 years with some people. And that issue of how to cook and how to plant and how to sow and all those things, they come into a different category, right? Because they're life skills.
Of course.
How to change your oil in your tire, how they look under the hood,
Yeah.
whether it's an electric vehicle or otherwise.
Of course.
But we relegate that to certain types of people. Oh no, you're not supposed to. I want to share something with you as we go to this next caller.
Sure.
A friend sent us through a quote from Mother Teresa. It says, "We cannot do great things. We can only do little things with great love." All right. Let's go to the phones. I'll repeat it back in a minute. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Buenos dias, señorita. Señora.
Yes, and I am Mother Teresa.
I was thinking,
Good
I was
afternoon.
thinking that you exhibit many of the virtues when it comes to loving the people, no?
That's right. Good afternoon, everybody there.
Good afternoon.
I just actually tuning in. I had to ask you guys what you're discussing.
Mm.
Can we talk about population for a minute?
Population?
Yeah, population.
Let's go right ahead, man.
There's here something about the government saying something in effect of increasing the population. Need to increase at least another 40 to get to 100,000 for the Cayman Islands. I could be wording it wrong. Can you correct me?
Well, I'm not going to say whether it's another 40 to get to 100,000 or whether it's another 10 or another 20. But yes, it appears that Honourable Premier has acknowledged, so too has MLA Chris Saunders in their recent discussions in the LA, that as a result of the amendments to the exempted companies where they now have to have a physical presence of sorts, that in and of itself could result in an increase in our population. Now, whether that is the guise under which we achieved that increased growth that has been championed by some for a couple of decades, well, now whether we go into 100,000 or 150 as some have shared, I'll only say this to you because it was shared with me this morning by a couple of people who said that increasing the population is one thing, but trying to increase it by 30%, 40% in 5 years or 10 years, they use words like unsustainable, untenable, unconscionable. Now the guy used some other words, but I don't know that they're for the radio. So,
I know.
There you go.
But Sterling,
Yes, Mom.
you know, McKeever Bush, I have a great deal of respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned this some time ago about Cayman coming up to 100,000 people here in Ireland. And he also stated in about the 100,000, coming to the mark of 100,000. And he had some stuff in the pipeline when he was head of the government, and apparently this government came along now in fulfilling some of these things that was already in the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
The government took McKeever Bush and tore him down to the max, and here they are now going to fulfill some of the stuff that he, I would say, predicted for the Cayman Islands. I guess I'm probably using the wrong word, but I use the word predict that Cayman, should be, in 100,000 within so much time, whatever the case may be. I could be wording it wrong, but
That's fine. That's fine.
But Sterling, 100,000 people here in the Cayman Islands. Who are they? And who are, if they are like, say 50% developers, who are they developing for?
Right.
Because Sterling, we are getting to the point now where we got so many people who are so desperate in need. And I'm not talking about wants. I'm talking about the needs that they cannot even fulfill. If we got to look for 100,000 people to be living in the Cayman Islands, who are they renting to and who's going to be working? The Ritz-Carlton were not open. Oh, it's going to be strictly Cayman. Not strictly Cayman, but majority was going to be Caymanians here and there. They put Caymanians in there and they took them out one by one. Down at Caymana Bay, they're going to have a market, a local market that'll come and put your stuff there to sell. Now the market is being thrown. The vendors are being thrown out, and they're going to keep a small amount of the market there with their produce, I guess, on a yearly basis, whatever the case may be. These investors come in here, and they promise the Caymanians hell and all, and after they get us in there, they weed us out slowly and slowly and slowly, and the work permits are going through the pipeline left, right, and center. Mr. McLaughlin on his campaign trail, order is going to come control work permit. If we're going to control work permit, how are we going to look to how Cayman to have 100,000 people? Who are those people, and where will they be working, and where will they be living? Because, sir, and let me tell you something. The majority of these people who here are work permit, and I'm getting Cayman status a couple of years ago, if you see where they're living, you would not believe it. Are we going to turn our tourism island into a pig pen? I don't care. I have to use the word pig pen, pig style, whatever the case may be. People is here working on work permits. They spend the minimum. They stay at home. They buy a fancy car, and they live in a rundown house that when it rains, they can't even get to their door. They've got to put a few blocks to get into it, and they put a piece of paper in a hole to keep the mosquitoes out, and so forth and so forth. Well, I just want to say today that I am very, very keyed off to the fact that we're looking for 100,000 people to be sitting this little 2x2 island. The roads are congested all year round, and don't care how many roads they make, it's not going to work. And don't care how many people's property they buy to make this road, it ain't going to work, Sterling. So I got to say today that I just hope that they know what they're doing, because I hate to say this, but here is a revolution. And it's going to be the little few Caymanians left here that's going to form the revolution, because the people that's coming here full in the pockets and going out of our country and not investing nothing in the Cayman Islands. If they do invest in a home because of they got the status, they take it and they rent it and they're going elsewhere to live. We got to wake up and put our foot down and look into things that's what's happening around here. Cars are parked all over the place, not working. Homes are dilapidated. People go and get mortgages, can't even maintain their homes. Sterling, this island is in a mess. And I want to know where the politicians are when the voting is over and they got into the house. When do they visit back these people to see the conditions they are living in, from the yard to the rooftop? 100,000. The roads is congested. We have road rage with mouth going off right now. You know what's going to be next to Sterling? A gun. They can start pointing guns at us and driving off.
Right. But as you share that, if I could, maybe let's revisit something you said, right, about the farmers market, and it speaks to the message came through earlier, and I may read that, but let me read this to you if I can. And let's just take an extract from it. This was sent out yesterday from Dark Real Estate in relation to changes to the farmers market next year, right? And it talks that about the market that they have now, the weekly farmers and artisans market that we go there on Wednesdays is transitioning to a local harvest market where the farmers will sell their goods and produce in next year, and it said that the final one was going to be held yesterday, and then a new one will start back on the 9th of January next year from 10 to 3. But this is the part I wanted to read, if you give me a minute. It says the original market was established as a way to draw visitors to the newly built town centre and introduce local vendors. Now, a decade later, the town has over 40 shops and restaurants and sees over 2,000 visitors daily. And as the town has grown, the opportunities for artisans have grown, as many of the same products offered at the market are available in Kamana Bay, or where visitors and residents alike can stock up, right? And they extend an invitation to maybe come to some of the other shops that are there now. So someone sent this to me and highlighted and asked, well, is this what this call is now, sharing that don't need us anymore, so bye-bye. Good to have you, but we're done with you. Is that what you're sharing, Mom?
That's what I said too.
Yep, and that's in their press release. We used you for when we needed you, but we no longer want you, so out the door.
But this is the government make us all fall. They go and they take their word. Oh, we're going to hire Caymanians. Caymanians can have their stall down there and elsewhere, whatever the case may be. And then they push us out slowly. And the government do find somebody to go and say, what will happen that we can't bring our produce down here no more? Why is that we don't have no Caymanians at the hotel? Why we don't have this, why we don't have that? It is okay because the work permits are going in left, right, and center.
But can I ask, though, and I don't believe that you force people to do something, because even if it's a child, you insisting, you're demanding, you have said you got to clean up your room, as opposed to bringing the child along to willingly partnering, taking ownership, different tactics. But instead of us forcing the hotels to hire Caymanians, businesses to make concessions, is there a way that we can find a working partnership that is, much better?
We get a better working partner when we stop bringing in cheap labor into this island.
Okay.
And put our foot down and say, you know what? You want to bring cheap labor? You hire my people and you pay them what they deserve, and you want to bring in your cheap labor behind them and pay them what you want to pay them, it is fine. But you put my people first. You put my people first and you pay them what they deserve. You want to bring cheap labor and make them live 12 to 2-bedroom apartment and 15 to a 3-bedroom, and they're comfortable because they can, by the time they pay their bills, Sterling, everyone then probably pay about $300 each total of the rent and the groceries and utilities. And they can't pay their rent. You imagine you can't get a loan at the bank for a house, but you can go and rent an apartment for $1,000, $2,000, $3,500, but yet the bank can't give you a loan to buy a house. Can you imagine?
But you know, the thing is, as we look at it, and then someone sent, you referencing Mr. Bush earlier and his vision and so on. I think, like you said, many of us have that respect for him. But this article from the Compost years ago that talked about, you know, cluttering up the infrastructure, attributed to a comment from Mr. Bush at the time. So we seem to have either matured or we lost our way. Which is it?
We lost our way.
Mm-hmm. Because in the city, everything that McKeever was doing, it was wrong, it was bad. But this government is continuing on. McKeever had the pipeline. So he was a man of vision.
You know what I mean? Like Dad took the swamp land and turned it into millions of dollars, or none of government, not even the past ones that gone, so see the future for Cayman with the swamp land. But a man like Dad can come here and find the swamp and turn it into millions of dollars.
Yeah, man. Well,
it is sad. Sterling, thank you.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you. And as we get ready to hit our next break, we invite those to call us. But Ray, okay, he's here. I like the fact that you know it's there. Talk to me, Ray.
Well, you know, I think it's disappointing that the market vendors are being
I listen to you.
politely ushered out.
Relocated, man.
Relocated. It's a shame because they were a foundational part of when I started. They even put in their own press release when it was launched, this was the invitation to get people to come, and they were used as a almost bait at that point.
I was going,
and it was now a scenario where they've grown to the point where they no longer need them, and they've outgrown that usage.
Yeah. Something that I'll share with you, and again, this came for young people, and some made a comment. Others were very constructive. Others were very pointed. Remember when it was circulated in the social media place that one of the big coffee chains going to be coming into Camana Bay. And then one of the students said to me, "But wait a minute now, there's been nothing public about this. This is happening external to Cayman. This is a high school student, okay, with a few years yet to graduate, asking, but can this company announce this, right? So some formal announcement that they're going to be expanding into Cayman. Do they already have the requisite approvals from government? I mean, how is that working? And we don't know anything about it. Of course, the discussion went on with some of the issues. Is this the sort of, and I'll use these words, the backdoor dealers are going, and we come after the fact and say, well, here, this is what you're going to have.
Well, I think you touched on a different point there, and it's at the end of the day,
it ties it in.
Like anybody owns their house, they're welcome to do and manage their house however they choose to manage their house. And with anybody's investment, they have every right to manage their investment how they.
I agree with you. Sorry, I gotta be respectful.
The boss has to.
Yeah, we gotta take a break. But I'm gonna answer you in a second. Owning my house, I can do what I want to an extent, but it's different when I need approval.
Of course.
All right, and some houses need approval to plant a tree and change the color depending on the neighborhood. Yeah. Or certainly to extend it. But this is not a house, man. All right, for those on the line, we're going to hear from you as well. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
The only bad workout is the one that never happened. Make 2019 the year you commit to fitness. Let King Sports Center put you on the right track with their Get Fit 2019 sale from December 15th to January 15th. 2-for-1 Powerhouse Gym memberships for $600 or a single membership for $325. And call them to find out how you can take an additional $100 off this sale price. 946-5464 or visit kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Remember, fit is not a destination. It is a way of life.
This season, Vigoro is stocking something for everyone in our 2 garden centers. Christmas decorations, terrariums, succulents, ceramics, blooms, orchids, bromeliads, garden sculptures and accessories, mobiles and garden furniture, water fountains and wall art, and even fairies for the little ones. Make it a Vigoro Christmas with a gift that will be treasured forever. Vigoro on Agricola will be open on Sunday, December 23rd, 11 to 5. Both garden centers will be open on Christmas Eve till 6 p.m. Merry Christmas from Vigoro.
Going back to the brack again.
Look, I can't afford to miss this one. The Sport Bay Committee presents the 2nd annual Sport Bay Christmas Homecoming, December 15th through the 25th.
It's a place called Christmas Island.
Featuring 3 days of traditional Cayman Brac Christmas festivities, including live music by district musicians, home decorating contest, children's party, homecoming party, carol service, seniors gift distribution, singspiration, old-time kitchen dance, and fireworks to close off the year. For more information on dates and locations, call 925-3250. The Sport Bay Christmas Homecoming, December 15th through the 25th. It's time to come on home to the Brac again.
Going back to the brack again.
Congratulations to the 2018 Junior Achievement Company Retire. Gold medal winners of the J.A. America's Company of the Year competition held recently in Lima, Peru. Cayman Company Retire outperformed junior achievement teams from 19 countries, including Canada, many countries from Latin America and the Caribbean. Team Cayman, sponsored by Cayman Airways, was an environmental recycling company providing inspiration to junior achievement companies across the Western Hemisphere. Congratulations to team leader Martina Watler and 13 team members, including Alex Bodden, Sharon Roy, Samrudi Tagal Palawar, and Harlia Santo of Retire Limited, a Cayman Airways sponsored company. Junior Achievement, a youth inspiration program covering over 12,000 participants over 30 years, proudly developed and operated by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Getting ready for Christmas is all about the finishing touches.
The icing on the cake, the table neatly set, decorations specially placed, and gifts thoughtfully wrapped, all to share with those we love.
Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
Brit K, where people come first.
Brit K's offices close at noon, December 24th and 31st.
Visit britk.ky.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
This health flash is brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Over 65 million people around the world have moderate or severe COPD, a family of diseases that includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Cleveland Clinic, Florida offers a wide range of management and treatment options for COPD, including programs focused on education, medication, smoking cessation, and pulmonary rehabilitation. A team of experts is ready to review your symptoms and test results to develop a comprehensive treatment plan. For more information, visit clevelandclinicflorida.org.
For years, we have been promised prosperity on the heels of rapid development.
However, last year, over 2,000 Caymanian families
required the services of the Needs Assessment Unit.
Now,
We are faced with the largest capital project in our history,
at the risk of destroying what attracts people to our shores.
The government's Destination Performance Report states that annually
1.8 million cruise visitors contributed
$154 million in revenue, whereas
450,000 stayover visitors contribute $497 million.
$497 million.
It is time for a national development plan.
It is time for a national development plan.
and better decision making.
That takes into account our human, financial, and ecological resources.
Where we will no longer be driven like a boat without a rudder.
We don't need handouts from cruise lines.
Get your answers. Sign the petition.
Sign the petition. Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
And let's build our future together.
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 Lucky Slice Pizza.
It's love at first bite. Shaking your radio 3 to 6 weekdays.
Oh my God. From Radio Came On Super Jam Showdown.
May I have your attention?
Yo. One love.
Hip hop leader, Jay-Z.
Peace, y'all. This is Nas.
Peace.
Super Jam.
Is proudly sponsored by
Lucky Slice Pizza.
It's love at first bite. Call 949-3456 or visit K-Man Pizza to place your order today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks to Raymond Singh for coming away from his desk. He probably thinks there's more fun here and less work, but I don't know why.
No, I would lean the opposite.
What? Less fun here?
Sales and marketing comes like a very natural element to me.
There you go. Huh?
Whereas, dissecting and finding solutions is a little more brain capacity involved in this, which is kind of engaging. I like it.
Yeah. DJ Lynn, he's saying that we have big heads. Oh, big brains. What is he saying? We do have a call online, though. We know that much. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon, my friend.
Yeah, Mr. D.
How are you today?
All right, man.
All right. How the bacon come in?
Yeah, going on fine.
Going on fine? Man, I should make a request to send me chocolate in, man. Because I don't know if I got fine time.
Excellent breeze.
Yeah, there you go, man. Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
No, I was listening, man. Very, it's very interesting, but what sad is, there's no action being taken.
A lot of talk,
when we know what we're supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
But one thing to the homelessness, I just gotta wonder is like, if so much people homeless, why the churches lock, or why so much churches?
Yeah, where is that Christian ethos, huh? Mm-hmm.
A church shouldn't be, it should be open, to everybody,
Now, I hear you and I understand this, but as a question, we've seen churches vandalize, we've seen people break into churches and steal, as they do in schools. Where is the respect from the community towards the churches? So the church is unlocked. We could go in there and pray, maybe find some refuge sometimes, not necessarily sleep and spend the night, but maybe a little solitude. Some have alleged that if that happened, people would come in and steal. So where is the respect?
There's nothing wrong with having patrol around it. Nothing wrong with that.
But shouldn't our society be healthier than that a church, a school, a graveyard, a civic centre,
should be
places like that, the parks, where we show some respect. We don't vandalize, we don't steal, I would even say we don't go and curse and carry on in those places. But seemingly, we're no longer there.
No. You can check it out, because so much people under the influence of something nowadays.
Yeah.
They either work too hard or they push tablets too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
But also too, though, just as you started your point, the churches, whatever guise and format they are, where is that charitable Christian notion that they're out and willingly, we're talking collectively, not saying that some churches do or don't, where are they in being the brother's keeper, being that instrumental part in impacting society?
You got to say they at work. Is work, church, and home, and probably this little free time that you get. And then where the children are. The children are with you at work.
Mm-hmm.
Where they are with you. You know, they are you in church. This is what happening here. You imagine you living on an island, you work 24/7. You got to pay and live and everything. When we know it's certain things around here that is missing. And you know the big thing is unity. You know, that's what missing in between all of the islands.
Unity.
All the islands. You imagine all of us having good ties with Jamaica and Cuba and all these other places like that. You just imagine that we don't have to go and pay this big pile of shipping container fee and all that. Everything can come here on a door. You imagine that? No, you can't imagine that. Because dana good for the little investors. They can't come in and put a hold on everything.
If I can ask you, and this isn't from a perspective of exploring any economic opportunities, but Mr. Raymond earlier had called, and I thought it crossed my mind, but I decided not to pursue it. But you've said something again that strikes the same chord. So let's say Jamaica and Honduras, for instance. It won't include Cuba just yet, but there's probably some potential trade there. And the only reason won't exclude Cuba should be the obvious. So let's say the entrepreneur decides the canoe. Let's use the canoe. Some vessel comes across, like allegedly happens with illegal people, guns, drugs, and other similar stuff. But legitimately bringing over farm produce, electronic goods, whatever it is that can be traded. That person comes across, that entity brings these goods over, properly licensed and regulated and operated to come over, comes to the dock and discharges. Now, you think that's something that we could pursue? Is that what you're sharing as a potential entrepreneurial venture by some?
That's something from our forefathers used to carry on with.
All right. So using whatever established routes and mechanisms that exist now, whether for illegal and illicit activities, we legitimize it. They're coming over with the bananas and whatever the goods are.
Yeah. And remember, no, we used to have our export. We used to give out rope. If I mistaken, somebody should correct me.
And coconuts.
Yeah.
Huge
right?
coconut
export. Right?
Yeah, man.
So what wrong with all of us having a piece of work in that? Why all of us have to be chasing down a suit and a tie? Why?
Yeah, man. Yeah. But why?
You know why? Because they go and they got these, I don't know, these dreams or these. Yeah, you can dream. Yeah, you can dream. Don't worry, you can dream. But remember, what is reality and what is the dream?
Right. Now, I don't want to lose your train of thought, but just because it popped in, and I was remiss of me to say it more clearly that churches help. I did say it in passing, but this listener has sent through a WhatsApp that says, I know some churches are doing a lot to help people, but will not promote this to protect the dignity of those being helped. And we do know that. We do know that there are many churches, individuals, entities who do a lot to help. Could more, perhaps. But to your point, sir, whether it's the commerce that could be increased between the neighboring countries with the fruit and agriculture products and other things, why is it that we're not pursuing that?
What you think?
Why, maybe if I speculate and get into conjecture, I may find Monday morning I don't have a job. Talk to me. You tell me one.
I'm gonna tell you, but I got tell you in a way that probably maybe you could understand.
There you go.
Is the length of our noses okay?
Mm-hmm.
You think about that.
Yeah, man.
And you see what's up.
We'll get to a point one day in our society where we speak candidly and people will not be affronted by the truth. All right?
True.
Yeah, man. Blessings, my friend. Yeah. You see, there's incredible insight and intellect amongst our people. But is there a willingness?
Absolutely, no doubt. Right? Absolutely. There is.
Why is it that we are so unwilling to reason, to get into a discussion and have a meaningful dialogue about potentialities, you know.
You ask these questions like there's like a simple answer that I'm going to give you, and I'm giving you a whole couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, man, go ahead, man.
The reality is, any issue, we start talking about economics, is always going to trigger an emotional response. And what happens when we start bringing emotions and an emotional response nature to a conversation is it's no longer a conversation. It can very quickly become a shouting match and an eruption of different philosophies, different views. And it's unfortunate that does happen. But I'm glad he brought up the mention of the churches. And I'm glad you received the message that the churches are actually stepping in to help.
I said it in passing, but it was probably misplaced. So I appreciate our listeners giving that point.
Yes, and that's I appreciate the listeners sending that note in, because the churches do step in. We have a very robust church community here in Cayman who do a lot for the community. A lot of events are put on by the churches, and a lot of social scenarios put on for the benefit of the community. So I got to give them a big shout out.
Exactly. But just in full clarity, there have been allegations that some churches exist and operate that look more like a business. All right, that seemingly some churches allegedly, would are used to capitalize on they do the free concessions that they were granted. When they bring in certain items, maybe a few extra items come in that are not solely intended for church use. Now, if that happened and the church body, whether in that congregation or the church associations, knew about it, did they deal with it properly? Some would say probably not.
I think that problem exists in essentially every single industry. The reality is usually about 8% of any business is going to be any business industry is going to be used for its purpose. And then there's that other sliver percentage, that 20%, that 15% of the business is in the industry that abuse it. And it extends to virtually every element. It's unfortunate. But it's why laws are invented. It's why we create policies.
Okay, fair enough. And I don't have the statistics in front of me, but we know Transparency International provides data.
Sure.
And it talks about the cost of corruption.
Of course,
and if in order to get something done, this is the amount of extra money that has to be paid in order to get it done. That's a cost that's borne by us. That money, let's just use an example, that is paid to influence government officials, politicians, civil servants, regulators, even shippers, bankers, whatever it is, that's paid separately from the thing that is actually being done. Is a cost that's going to be borne and it's hidden. Right?
Of course, yeah.
So if that is 40%, maybe double your 20%, then where are we as a people and as a culture saying that's not acceptable? Are we seeing economics of that? I can now give you a product that's going to cost you $1 because there's a 40% increase as a result of other practices. I can give you the same product, probably even better quality, to cost you 60 cents because I don't have to pay these things, or maybe cost you 70 cents. All right? Wouldn't you rather that? Not just you personally.
Oh, yes, you're right. Like, I'm very opposed to any kind of car practices.
Yeah.
Very opposed to it. I've encountered it throughout my personal life. Seen it firsthand and how it can become a very destructive element to a person's life. And it is a destructive element. But to your point of what will it take for people to actually step up and speak up and how should we react and deal with it comes to your voting times. It comes to situations where you have to take a stand and you have to be willing to actually take a stand, and that's the tough part. Taking a stand is, people have a tendency to say, "Oh, let's just be brave and take a stand." No, there's repercussions for taking a stand.
We'll do a comparative analysis of, say, the U.S. and Western societies. Sure. Right. The U.S. has the RICO legislation that says to its companies, you can't, openly bribe officials in other countries in order to get a contract, and if you do, you're going to be subject to our sanctions here.
Correct.
UK probably has something likewise in the Nordic countries. But yet some countries seem to operate with an ethos of a greater sense of integrity and ethics. Right? Not just because it's illegal, that's why it's done. It's the moral and essential thing that needs to be done.
Which countries are we referencing when you say that?
Well, when we look at, say...
I don't know many, so...
when we look at Transparency International in particular, I haven't looked at their stats in a while.
Yep.
and we see some of the Nordic countries, right?
Okay.
And their behavior practices and the like. And then we look at allegedly some of the other countries in the Far East and the like, the practices and expectations of how contracts are serviced.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps now dissimilar to what we see in the Caribbean, Cayman included. Where are we as a people when we come into maturity and legitimacy? We want to raise the bar and expectations that we're going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Now, I don't know whether DJ Lynn saved me from my tongue or whether. But we're going to pause and take a break, get the news. When we come back, ask the questions, Ray. We'll see if you have a job tomorrow. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
A Christmas treat for some 92 students at East End Primary School who received 2 books each from Santa this week and got a little help from Cayman's Literacy is for Everyone Life charity. Life donated the books, and according to officials, the idea to give students books as Christmas presents is a result of both Life and East End Primary's desire for them to have great books to read at home along with the access they already have at school. Some of the books included Mighty Trucks, A Squash and a Squeeze, The Gruffalo, Splat the Cat, Olivia, Captain Underpants, and many more popular favorites. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, Irish President Michael D. Higgins has signed the bill that legalizes abortion in the Republic of Ireland. The new law allows for abortion services to be provided on demand up to the 12th week of a pregnancy. The Regulation of Termination of Pregnancy Bill completed its passage through the Irish Parliament last Thursday with a 9-hour debate in the Senate. And Russia's President Vladimir Putin has accused the UK and US political classes of disrespecting the public by questioning the Brexit referendum and Donald Trump's election. The president's comments came at his year-end press conference in Moscow. Russia's leader also said British Prime Minister Theresa May has no choice but to follow through with Brexit, as failing to do so would undermine UK democracy. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
I need a bank that is convenient for me.
What do you mean?
I need a bank that has easy-to-find locations and plenty ATMs when I need cash on the go.
Oh, well, that's easy. You need to bank with Cayman National. They have 7 customer service centers and 23 ATM locations. The newest one is at the East End Post Office, and I hear there's more to come.
Well, sounds like I need to bank with Cayman National Bank, the convenient bank, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Cayman National is everywhere. Surely they are Cayman's convenient bank.
Cayman National Bank. We're here for you.
Oh, this Christmas, Kirk Freeport is wishing everyone peace, love, joy, and $40,000 in prizes. Win one of the multiple $5,000 and $1,000 cash prizes just for shopping at your favorite Kirk Freeport store. Purchases of $100 before noon on Christmas Eve qualify for all remaining prize draws. There's even a Rolex watch prize draw on January 2nd, and loads of other great prizes. Peace, love, joy, and the island's biggest Christmas sweepstakes. Only from Kirk Freeport. Full details on kirkfreeport.com. Merry Christmas from Kirk Freeport.
On Thursday at 7 p.m., you can hear a repeat broadcast of CI Retro's Talk Today special presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered, when we take a look back at Cayman Islands Christmas celebrations and traditions through the years, going back some 150 years to present day. This special CI Retro Talk Today presentation is being brought to you by Four Winds Esso, Cayman Enterprise City, pioneering a new type of special economic zones in the Cayman Islands, focused on technology and innovation. FSH Designs. Let your imagination grow with FSH Designs Limited. Visit fshdesigns.com today. Eats Cafe, Legends, and Yoshi Sushi, located in the Fall Center on the West Bay Road, across from the Westin. And by Puritan Cleaners, celebrating 60 years of excellent service to the Cayman Islands community. And to you from all of our fine sponsors, all the best for the Christmas season and into the new year. Remember, Thursday, 7 p.m., CI Retro Talk Today's special Christmas presentation, Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered. Looking back at Christmas over the last 150 years on Radio Cayman.
Did you know that recycling collection containers are located island-wide in Grand Cayman? The Department of Environmental Health's program is an integral part of DEH's waste management responsibility in the Cayman Islands. Start your recycling program at home today. Put your tin and aluminum cans in appropriate DEH recycling containers at all Foster supermarkets, Kirk Market, or Hurley's Grand Harbor. Help keep the Cayman Islands clean. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, go to www.deh.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio. Enjoy your mix of pop, hip-hop,
dancehall, urban gospel, Latin hits,
reggae, and soca. The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of
Savannah Pharmacy, just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. In the studio, as we have some good open line, Raymond Singh joins us. He comes down some now and again, right?
Now and again. You know, I do enjoy coming down the studio. You know, Talk Today has a refreshing element. It's a very real show. You get to hear passion from the callers. And you can definitely hear sometimes the frustration. I do wish at times that when callers, and I appreciate you today asking the callers to not only voice their concerns, but the solution that they would offer to coincide with that concern.
And I hope that they, in that, I'll do it more often, and I do it with some people, but it frustrates some people, and they think you're being, offensive. It's not it.
It's not, no.
You have to engage, and you have to be willing to challenge a perspective, all right? And it doesn't matter if the person is the head of the judiciary, the head of the business association, the bank, head of the civil service. We need to be able to speak to issues and not necessarily speak to the person unless the person's character and behavior undermines the integrity of the office, right? So hopefully people get to a point where we start to question and willingly act. That's going to improve it.
You're absolutely right. And I mean, what I will say to that is everybody under the sun has an opinion and can look at a situation and find the problems. What I always try to encourage people to do is what you try to do just now, which is bring the solution with it. Identify the problems. Great. That wall is broken. Fair enough. We can all see the wall is broken. What is the solution actually fixing that wall and making it a stronger, more stable wall? And that's one of the elements I like about Talk Today is that it offers that avenue for people to vent that concern and equally for you to bring that solution to the table.
All right. Hopefully, I'll be asked again. Hopefully, the people themselves will bring it to the public. So on the way out, a quick message came through on two things. And one had come through earlier and I didn't get to it. And not that I'd forgotten it, but I thought, Jesus, Christmas, do we want to bring it up? But
controversy, let's go.
Let's bring it up. So two things. One, I'll share them with you so I don't forget it. I wrote it down. One is this ocean thermal energy conversion, this proposal in our side to put in something that is, I can't read how the guy wrote it. And honestly, there's no nice way to read that. Right? And we're basically going to experiment with this thing. It's costly and the like, right?
Viable.
And then the second one is, our government, right, the elected members of the Legislative Assembly, have gone off to the mother country and has had a dialogue and seemed like certain changes are going to take place. And his comment is that, wait a minute, these are changes, things are going to happen, but we're not being consulted, we being the populace. How can that be? Are these significant changes? Are they just little things. And his closing point was quickly that, where is the populace? Again, you talk about action and the solution. Is it that it's a perfect time of year for this to happen because people are so busy? They don't have time to look at that. I'll look at it later on. And later on doesn't come. And when it does, it's too late. So pick one first, and I'll tell you what I shared. There's a voice note, Mr. DJ Lin. I don't know what it says, so you tell us later. And we've got a caller as well. Boy, you see, Ray brings good luck, and he's like that little
controversy tends to follow me wherever I go.
I was thinking something else, man. Much nicer. Let's go to the phones. Welcome here on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. Very blessed. And yourself?
I'm fine. This is Steve McFeely, and good afternoon to your guest.
Yeah, Dr. Steve, always a pleasure, sir. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Sterling. I think that the questions that your program and many other programs and many other people should be asking is, what was the vision in developing this country? Was there a vision in developing?
Was there a vision? Yeah.
Was there a vision, and how is it possible to have 125 different nationalities, different people, different cultures to exercise their cultural rights in such a small society, in such a small place? And what was the underpinning to strengthen the Caymanian culture so that it didn't become overrun by all the other people who are coming in? They're more educated. Some of them are more educated. Some of them are more aggressive because they come from more developed countries, more urban countries where living itself is a war, and they have this attitude that I have to succeed and I have to live, I have to survive at any cost.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that? Was there anything that did we ask sociologists or anthropologists or urban geographers or anything for their expertise and helping us to design this new society that was coming about?
Mm-hmm.
You just can't bring and throw people together like that. Because what you have is war.
Yeah.
Because every culture believes that their culture is the only one that should be dominant. And then when you have people like Caymanians who are very non-aggressive, who grew up under a really strict colonial system, as Roy Borden says in his book, From the Guardhouse to the Guardhouse. When you look at all the things that you learned into school when you were young, rule Britannia ruled the waves. Britons ne'er ever shall be slaves. We're talking about our masters. Never should be slaves, but we were slaves. And when the slave trade was over, and the whole slave system was over, they paid the masters for the loss of their labor. They never paid us for not being paid, working for those people all of those hundreds of years.
Mm.
You see? And then when we had to sing, England got the money and Jamaica got the rum. England got the money and Jamaica got the rum. England got the money and Jamaica got the rum as we go marching along. Everything was that. Our whole life was about the superiority of other people who were better. That they teach us were better than we are, and that we had to be subordinate to them. And so what we have today now is a different generation of people who don't even understand that whole system. And then you have these people from all over, from Philippines, from India, from Canada, from the United States. This is 125 different nationalities. We expect them to live side by side, and there's not friction because Sterling.
Yes, sir.
Because you can't create 2 or 3 or 4 super cultures on each other. You see what happened in Israel and what happened in Syria and what happened all those other places. This is what will happen to you. It might not happen to you immediately, but it might happen to you later on.
But Dr. Steve, sorry. But even we even see that in, let's take Spain, for instance, right now. Let's take other aspects of European history. We see it in Belgium, we see it in other parts, we even see it in the UK. People are jockeying for what they think is an element of sovereignty. They want to exercise a semblance of their, in their minds, their cultural ethos. So why is it in Cayman that seems to be a bad thing? Words like xenophobic and insular and other derogatory terms are being levied at the people.
Yes, it's because the traditional people, for instance, in England, the people who traditionally for hundreds of and thousands of years had the British way of life, and this is what they did. Whether it was in Dorset or whether it was in Lincolnshire or whatever it was, where they lived was the English way of life, and they didn't mind one or two people passing through or coming and staying for a long time, whether you were a student or you were a seasonal worker or something. Mm-hmm. But when people start to invade there and bring their own cultural recepts there and started to change the system, people start to rebel against that, and that is what's happening here. And as the lady said, the lady who called in, I was listening to what she was saying. So if you have enough, if there's enough for all Caymanians, if today politicians wanted to balance the system, the social system, and the labor system, there's enough for every Caymanian to be employed. And if you have everyone employed, and if you have enough places where they can go and buy food, and you have enough places where they can go and worship, and you have enough places where they can live, and you have enough cars that they can drive, how many more do you want? So I keep asking the question, whether you think more is better than enough. Because if you have enough, why do you need more? Why do you need a larger supermarket? Why do you need a highways? If everybody now has their own car, why do you need more highways to get more cars? So that you have to get more highways again? It doesn't make sense, does it? So sometimes you have to say that the society has reached its acme.
With that, sir, if I may ask of you, while we're looking at all these issues, we're seeing increasingly this semblance that within our populace, not just amongst the upcoming generations, but even some feeling a sense of being displaced and the like. Or apologies, we seem to have Dr. Steve, it wasn't deliberate. We seem to have inadvertently hit a button in order to switch you over. We switched you off. Let us call you back or try calling us back. We apologize publicly to Dr. Steve for that. It was not intentional. The other call is online though. So good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you?
Very well, Mom. How are you?
I'm doing okay. All things considered, I'm doing okay.
You sound like not just a word of inspiration and encouragement, but just your presence fills to imbue us with a great sense of accomplishment.
Thank you. So I have to tell you, I got to play tourist today.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend visiting from Canada, and one of the doctors where I work told me about a tour guide that she saw a good price on. Mm-hmm. So it happened to be with, can I call it the company's name?
Hey, I think we should say good or bad, so go right ahead, man.
Sure. No, it was Captain Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
And I had not done anything like this in a long time. So he had a great package there with Stingray City, the Caves, and Starfish Point. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so I said, we'll do that one. From start to finish, everyone came at it. From start to finish, everyone Caymanian. Now, I know when I called, I think I got like a non-Caymanian person, but nonetheless, everyone else that I dealt with today was whatever. I could tell they were as native can be. And it was a breath of fresh air, not only because the tourists were so happy, they got Caymanian accents, the everything was just as Caymanian could be. When we got to the cave, we had a gentleman named Mr. Oscar. And then on top of it all of the Caymanians that recognized me passed on their condolences to me.
Yep.
And it was just, so refreshing, especially I was the only local on the group, in our group, and there was 13 of us on that particular group. And Oscar on the Crystal Caves, I mean, just, you don't want anyone else telling anyone about your country, no matter where you are in the world, other than a person who is from there.
Yep. But we need to make sure, yep. Mm-hmm.
It speaks volumes. Other people that were there, some of them were returning visitors, and, they were so relieved by that, and then they're giving me their email and their contact, because this is what I want to talk about. Caymankind is just this genuineness that people just gravitate towards you, because that it's not a hatred towards expats, but if those expats have to understand and respect where they are, okay? But they reflect on how they see us treating each other. They can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you will have an expat say, well, I don't understand. Exactly why are there not... Even the gentleman actually said to me, so, I was at... where did he say he was at? He was at...
Where he was staying?
The one of the coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, why are there no locals working? And then I explained to him about the minimum wage, and I said, a local person with a local mortgage and family to feed cannot afford to work for $6 an hour. Nonetheless, they should still work and maybe work 2 jobs, like other people hustle in other countries. But irregardless, there's still not enough locals, I believe, to fulfill all of the jobs.
So, but is that, not to interject, but is that part of the problem? Is it not only that the salaries being offered have been significantly, depressed, but is it that there are so many available jobs that there are not enough people?
Once upon a time, that was the talk.
Mm.
And that's when a lot, but then slowly but surely, I don't think we'd ever have enough of a workforce age-wise ready to work, you know what I mean?
Right,
to fulfill everything. But there are some things, I believe that's how the immigration was originally, I don't know which law it is, where you had to have Caymanians, or Caymanians had to apply. But from the 80s and the 70s, it was like, you just post the ad, but you're already gonna, that kind of thing. And for a long time, that was accepted. But I think what has happened now that we have ostracized our own people to the point where the expats are then doing it to us too, because at some point it became, someone must have told them, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Someone must have told them. Today, like I said, it was such a breath of fresh air. And then when we got back on the ferry part back to Camana Bay, it was again the local guys, and just to see them on the water just reflected to me like, no, they're not merchant marines, but you felt just in such capable hands because they know the water. And
but
it was a little rough today, but nonetheless, we were out from 7 o'clock this morning, but nonetheless, they knew what they were doing. And not to say that other people don't know what they're doing, but we're known for our seamanship, so.
Mm-hmm. But as I listen to you, I'm asking myself the question, we see Cayman, and yes, the premise before to justify the number of work permits was that insufficient people available to fill the jobs. We fast forward where we have people who not only have the academic qualifications but the experience. They either are unable to find employment, or if they do, they've been offered wages allegedly substantially less, much lower than their counterparts from elsewhere. So how is it that we're able to continue, speaking out of both sides of our mouth?
Well, yeah, I don't know, and I don't know how some people don't choke, or how some people are driving the same bus that they're almost driving over their own foot with, but they're driving it themselves. So, I mean, and the thing is, don't get me wrong, Cayman was successfully became better under everyone. We had everyone, but to the point where, you know, my mom, I grew up in a time when my mom worked part-time at Holiday Inn as an assistant with Annie Moulton, where they were they were in charge of the social activities coordinator at the original Holiday Inn by Galleon Beach at the original location. And you know, on Sundays, I forget the man's name, guarantee you're going to go there and step on the Casarena pine cone and eat burned up barbecue chicken. But we love that burned up barbecue. If it wasn't crisp, you know what I'm talking about. If it wasn't charred, it wasn't good. And, you know, things like that. And the Barefoot Man, I guess he must be Caymanian by now, but he would be this thing, and he didn't try to bring his music. He merged his and the calypso, and him and Andy Martin. You know, they made it was just, you know, you could go Royal Palms. My mother would go Royal Palms when it was Royal Palms, before it was the Palms. And you dance your Maringa and your soca, and you have Byron, and you have everybody. And everybody intermingled. And the natives felt proud because they're showing others they're beautiful. When did we lose that pride? I do not know.
All right.
But it's not too late, but it has to go back into the school system. The government needs to bring back their social study book and just update it. A lot of the stuff was destroyed in Ivan. Well, it's time to replenish the stock.
Right.
We cannot blame Ivan anymore. That we have a generation of children that are growing up not knowing anything at all. And it is not fair to them. It is not, we are not. And whether or not they are Caymanian by paper or whatever you want to call it, they still need to know the history. I'm a Caymanian by paper. I have 2 Caymanian parents. But thank God my mom has enough sense to have me in Jamaica that saved my vision and saved my life because I was born at 7 months. So, although people would like to say, oh, you're paper Caymanian. Well, you can, that paper, I'm sorry, whatever you want to do. My mother was born on a kitchen table in West Bay, and my father from Cayman Brack, or wherever. And I'm sorry, you can't get more Caymanian than that. It's just this paper foolishness. I don't know who invented that term. It is wrong. It is wrong.
But the thing is, I mean, the whole immigration issue, right, sorry to interject, has created a problem because, okay, my birth certificate actually says I was born in West Bay. All right, maybe they knew that's how much pride I have in who I am. But I don't have a piece of paper that says that I'm Caymanian. Yet my good friend, you know, who has gone through the process and got that piece of paper, is as much, if not more, Caymanian, because if my employer asks one of us to demonstrate that you're Caymanian because you have something from immigration, I don't have that.
Apparently now to get the British passport, they've decided now that I have to, this is British rule, I suppose, I have to somehow or another, get my parents' marriage license.
Yeah, boy. We've...
Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they weren't married here, and not only that, I have to get a piece of paper now that proves that I've never held a Jamaican passport in order to get my British one. Okay? I have gotten my Canadian passport because I became a Canadian citizen through marriage like moons ago. Let me tell you, did my time there, did the citizenship test, did everything I had to do, and it's never once have I been called a paper Canadian.
Yeah. Well, you know, we unfortunately allow those terms to be thrown out from one side and from the other equally.
It has systematically segregated us from our own people.
No unity.
Okay? And they did the same thing in the States with segregation, and they've done the same thing with the welfare system in many countries. You cannot have the rich unless you have the poor, and you cannot have the rich unless they have someone to be charitable towards.
Well, maybe that's where my friend hangs out with me. He say he doesn't, know he's handsome because he's sitting next to me. All right. I would love very much for you to join us sometime, either on the phone or in person, so we can benefit from that great insight of yours.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Everybody needs to just take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Life is too short,
Mm.
and the people that are here that have left their homeland to work in Burger King and Del Sol and all of those places for minimum wage, they have families too.
Yep.
And they would not come here for a job if the job had not been here offered to them.
And we better make sure that we ensure that those who are employed and treated respectfully and properly, right?
Remember now, if we are a Christian society and we believe in God, we are all God's creatures.
Yes, well.
We are all God's people.
Talk to you again very soon.
Take care. Bye now.
All right, blessings to you. All right. I believe, Mr. Singh, we can take another quick final call.
Sure.
Let's
sure.
do that.
Sure,
Good
sure.
afternoon. No, hey, sort of tell me. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon again, Dwayne.
Good afternoon again, sir.
Yes, sir. I got news on the tug and barge arriving Little Cayman tonight, and then going to discharge here, weather permitting, and then head on to Cayman Brack. No contact by radio, but by another source. I found out they're coming there first to Little Cayman, then on to Cayman Brack.
Okay.
Yes, and they're having a very rough time out there. The seas on the south coast of the island here is very rough, extremely rough. That's a small tug, and so in that heavily loaded barge with containers, they really have a beaten out time out there.
Well, the scripture says, "Come all ye heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So maybe they'll get in there and do it. But I'm glad to know that that's making progress.
Yes, correct. The reason I announced this again as first time and second time because several people called me from the island here to find out if Raymond, if you know when the tug and barge is coming, I have the longest range of communication. But regrettable, the VHF radio is unreliable, and I called them about 20 times, and I'm home now from work and finished what I was doing. So no contact with them. Wouldn't reach them until they get probably an hour away from Little Cayman.
All right.
That's how the VHF communications are. Just very limited. They're not for long range. Only single sideband or another source. That's how you make contact.
Well, I hope that they arrive safely, and thanks for keeping us posted, Mr. Raymond.
Yes, okay, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year once again. Hope to talk with you tomorrow. All the best.
All the best, man. All the best. Thanks again. And like the later call, it was a little social jaunt, or like Mr. Raymond shared, they're bringing over a commercial venture. At sea, it can be fun, but as long as it's safe. Ray, you were here today, man. Thank you for letting me, sit with you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me in again. I do appreciate the opportunity to always... you're a fun guy to hang out with, and I do like our listeners quite a bit.
So. Say that more often, my people will believe you.
I am in sales, by the way, so I can, if you don't believe me, I'll convince them.
You can convince them?
Yes.
All right, I can get you strategizing how you... Oh, man, listen, I love life. I like the caller just before Mr. Raymond shared. We should value it, respect it, appreciate it, and spend time, with those that we love. But wherever we are, find ways to add value, to be as... sincere in our actions and as dedicated as we can so that we improve the lot of others, not just our own. It takes two hands to clap.
It does. It does.
But only one to beat.
What was it Mother Teresa said? If you want to improve the world, go home and spend time with your family?
Yeah. And have a 4-day work week. And a national ghost stove, public holiday from December 23rd to January the 4th. I think that's what she said. Remember, two hands to clap, but only takes one hand to beat your chest. Just a thought.
That's the thought you're leaving us out on? Remember Jerry Springer used to have these final quotes of the day?
Yeah. I never used to watch him.
That might have been
might have been one of those?
The equivalent of that.
That doesn't sound like a compliment. That doesn't sound. All right. Listen, thank you very much.
Thank you so much again.
It's tomorrow. I think Ray is joining us tomorrow. Ray with a W.
Ray Banker. Mr. Banker. I was tuning in to listen to that show. That's the comical Ray. I'm the serious Ray. He's the he's the man.
He's very serious.
He is serious. I'm a big fan of Ray Banker.
That guy, you're talking about an incredible, talented, gifted guy.
Absolutely.
Seriously, man. He is super smart.
And there's a passion that's kind of rivaled. And
yeah, man. He's amazing.
And he's a fellow badminton player, so it's...
So you trying to tell me that you can keep up with him in badminton?
No.
Okay. I'm just making sure because you were in sales.
I could have when I was in high school. No, probably not.
Not with Ray. No.
No, I heard he's a legend.
There's two things that I think Ray is good at.
Two things? You just threw him in the bus that fast.
No, man. Everything he does on badminton.
Well, so that's the quote we should end the show on.
There you go. Listen, guys, thank you very much for allowing me to facilitate. Thanks to Ray for joining us. DJ Lynn sits there, and whether it's him, Joel, Paul, or Susan, as she enjoys her celebrations outside of the office. When she comes back in, we leave a lot of work for her.
Absolutely.
Clean up the mess that we make. Tomorrow, join us for See What I'm Saying. Until then, be blessed.
Thank you again.